And I can tell you for a fact that it promises to be great. It promises to be great because I mean, there are a lot of things that we are definitely going to be dissecting on the show today. Let's start with the focus. You know, on the discourse on a weekly basis, we look at some of those topical stories, some of the topical issues in national polity, and we'll bring them to for your listening pleasure. And you know, one of the major focus on today's show would be the waiver of import duties on food items by the federal government. You know, that's one of the developing stories that we have. As of yesterday, you know, there were reports in that regards. And of course, as part of effort by the federal government to ease the tension, as part of palliatives by the federal government to help cushion the effect of fuel subsidy removal and the subsequent impact on food commodities, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has also approved and directed the implementation of 0% duty rate and value-added tax exemption on basic food items like maize, roasted brown rice, wheat, grain, beans, and millets. Following the approval, the Customs Service said it had begun the implementation on July the 15th and is to last till December the 31st. According to the federal government, this measure is geared towards facilitating the high cost of food items in the Nigerian market and also help to cushion the effect of the fuel subsidy removal in the country. On the flip side of that story, we have a report indicating that Nigeria is said to lose about 188 billion on food import duty waiver, and that's coming from the Nigerian Customs Service. These are some of the indications that, you know, many Nigerians have been saying we are hungry. If you do not forget, let's recall the the protest action, I beg your pardon, that started on the 1st of this month to the 10th, tagged End Bad Governance. Many people went to the street, took to the street to share their thoughts as regarding some of those things. And one of the salient things that Nigerians had to say in this regard is related to the fact that there is hunger in the land. This development, does it truly translate to cushioning the effect of fuel subsidy and the economic hardship experienced by Nigerians? Does this portend that it's going to be a lasting solution to the problem of the common man? There have been several palliatives, several initiatives as instituted by the government of this day. But will these in any way impact the common man on the street? I mean, these are some of the critical things we're definitely going to be considering on the show this morning. Also, we are definitely going to be looking at the issues with the Constitution. You know, there were several sets of team and group who have visited President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Don't forget the the State Council meeting that was held in Abuja at the Aso Rock. In attendance was the former president, President Bola Ahmed, the former president, I beg your pardon, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. We had President Muhammadu Buhari, and we have the 36 state governments. Those who could not attend had their deputy, and they had full representation there. At the end of this meeting, something critical was said, that they had casted a vote. They cast a vote of confidence on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There have been numerous speculations in that regard. That is this a way to actually speak the mind of the common man in Nigeria? And that leads us to other stories, which should be the major focus also on the show today. Constitution and amendment. The Constitution amendment, a catalyst for performance and optimization. We've seen a lot of fusion of power, people doing numerous things across different borders. And we have been looking critically into some of those things. Will this be the solution that we so desire in our dear country, Nigeria? This and many more will be our focus on the show this morning. Before I bring in my in-house analyst, I'd like to bring in, I have the singular honor to have the head of story, leadership newspaper, a journalist, a seasoned journalist par excellence, a journalist extraordinaire, who has done some amazing work in that light of ensuring that, they do the work in the right perspective. He will join us very, very soon virtually, all the way from Abuja this morning. Is going to join us, and we want to hear his view as regarding what the government has done in relation to the waiver, import duty waiver, as institutionalized by the Nigerian Customs Service. What are some of the implications of this thing? Do you think it's definitely going to impact, the common man? These are some of the things that we are definitely going to be considering on the show this morning. You can also do well to join us live on Facebook, omoluwabi 87.7 FM. That's where you can check us live on Facebook. You can check us live there on Facebook. And like I said earlier, our focus, the very first focus on the show this morning, it's on the waiver of import duties on food items in Nigeria. And right about now, we'll need to link up with our guest who will join us virtually on the show this morning, all the way from Abuja. Is going to be sharing some thoughts in relation to this issue, the waiver of import duties on food items by the federal government. There are critical things that we definitely want to consider this morning. So right now, we would need to put up a call through to our guest, and let's hear from him what he has to share in that regard. While we await that call to get connected, it has been some of the developing stories that we've gotten in that regards. Okay, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Dayo. How are you doing?
Very fine, sir. It's great having you join us live virtually on the show this morning.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, this is virtually most Nigerians can listen to you, and of course some of our listeners in Ibadan.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sparing our time to join us live on the show this morning.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. Our focus this morning would be, as a journalist, head of story of Leadership newspaper, we want to hear your thoughts as regarding the waiver of import duties on food items by the federal government. There have been some reports from the Nigeria Customs Service indicating that, with this waiver, about 188 billion would be lost by the country on food import duty waiver. What would you make of this? Do you think this is in the right trajectory of positioning the economy and, of course, helping to cushion the effect of fuel subsidy and, of course, hardship in Nigeria? Let's have your take this morning.
All right. Thank you, Dayo. I also want to commend Omoluwabi FM for inviting me on this program. Thank you very much. Quickly, I would like to commend the federal government for this move. It is something I call a move in the right direction. Even though it is short term, it is a quick fix. It is not permanent, but at least in the meantime, it's just a 150-day strategy to cushion the effect of rising cost of food items in the country. So it is a move in the right direction for now, but I don't expect the government to rest on their oasis to think that they have arrived, or it is just something to help the government to now plan on a more long-term solutions to the problem we have at hand. So it's going to impact, in the short term, but in the long term, we need better policies.
Absolutely. Better policies in that regard. As a journalist on the field, you also have a lot of ideas about some of this developing story. Don't you think this is an action in relation to the end bad governance protest? Many Nigerians went to the street to say numerous things about the fact that they are hungry. The international community also shared some views in that regards that government should work in this light to bring about solution to the problems of the common man. Do you think this is in the right perspective in helping. Do you think this waiver would not just be another agenda to continually enrich the bourgeois, the rich people, or it would definitely impact the common man?
Yeah, like I said earlier, that it is just a short-term measure. Yes, it's not going to bring permanent solution. See, the permanent solution to the hunger crisis in the country, it's supposed to be an holistic plan. See, Dayo, it is a disgrace, a national disgrace, that Nigeria, with arable land of about 39 million hectares, we are still importing massively to feed the citizens. It is a disgrace. When you compare Nigeria to a tiny desert country, or Israel, of only 380 hectares of land, and this country is, through technological advancement, they've been able to be getting up to $1 billion in the last 10 years contribution to their economy. What is Nigeria doing with the land that we have? So this is not going to, take away hunger from the land. There are a lot of things that still need to be done by the government. How can you rationalize it? Nigeria spends over $10 billion annually on food imports, 4 times the value of exports. This is unacceptable. Like I said, this waiver is just a temporary relief since Naira depreciation. Yes, making somebody, who is going to get rich in 5 months or thereabout. You see, the government is just trying to see how they can bring about relief for the citizens. But we still need more to be done. Food inflation in Nigeria rose from 20.4% in May 2023 to 40.81% as of June this year. So there are a lot of problems, and government must fix this. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that wonderful insight that you've shared on the show. We understand that you are very, very busy. You're a very busy person. Also, I didn't preempt you about it, but what would be your advice? What do you think are some of the strategic things that government at this critical time can do towards ameliorating the effects of hardship as far as the country's economy is so concerned?
Okay, thank you, Daniel. I've been emphasizing the need for a long-term measures. Now, what are the long-term measures I want to propose to the government? Number one, we need to adopt modern technology in our agricultural practice. We cannot rely on those traditional methods with low inputs to feed over 200 million people. We need to also engage in massive land cultivation. Look at all over the country, you see, land lying value. Nothing is being done. We need to utilize what God has given to us. Another thing is that extension services. We are experiencing disappearance of extension services in this country. We need them. We need to bring them back. We need to also eliminate fertilizer mafias. There are some people that have constituted themselves as mafias. And, how can you be producing 50 kg of rice with, at the rate of 40,000 naira, excluding other costs and all that, which will now make it to be about 70 or 80,000 naira in the market. We also need to end insecurity. I cannot overemphasize that. End insecurity in the farms. Farmers, we don't have food in this country. That's just because the farmers cannot go to the farms because of insecurity. We also need to do something around flooding. When you are cultivating rice or some other farm produce, and flooding is taking away 50% or 60% of what you are producing, where would that one lead to? We also need to invest in rural roads. And something must be done about all these nuisance taxes and extension on the highways. It is not the best way because they are adding to the cost, that the final consumers usually pay on farm produce and on goods. In conclusion, I would just say that Nigeria just need to invest more in processing and storage of food.
processing and storage of food. That's so insightful. Thank you so much. Just before we allow you go, I mean, we also I would definitely want to ask you a question in regards to the local government autonomy. You know, as pronounced by the Supreme Court, there have been several discussions, several analyses by experts and, of course, professionals in that angle, saying numerous things like, will this solve the problem? Is this the solution to the problem of Nigeria? How do you think? Do you think if the local government autonomy becomes really more effective, it will really come handy towards helping to improve food production locally as far as Nigeria is so concerned?
Thank you. See, the issue of local government autonomy, it is a matter that is long overdue. And I am happy that the present administration has taken it upon itself, to grant autonomy to local government. Before, local government, we didn't have local government in Nigeria because they have been tied to the apron string of the state governments, and they have been, ruled and, being controlled by the state government, mainly state governors. So they are not being funded. So I think this will bring government closer to the people. I spoke about Nigeria having a lot of arable lands cultivated. Now, if every local government, with the funding they are getting from the government, can help the farmers. Farmers need subsidies on importation of farm input and all that. And these farmers are located in rural areas. So with local government autonomy, they'll be able to monitor the activities more. You can't sit in Abuja and be micromanaging everybody in the nooks and crannies of the country. It is the job of the local governments to ensure that even though you are giving them subsidies, you are giving them this, you are giving them that, some people must monitor what they are doing. And with that, Nigeria will be able to come out of the doldrums of food insecurity.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And, the current situation in the country, what would be your final word to Nigerians listening right now? So many people are saying a lot of crazy things out there about the country, about the leadership in the country. What would be your final word of advice to Nigerians listening at home right now?
Thank you. My advice is in twofold. I'll first of all advise the ruling class. If you are talking about sacrificing for the nation, you are talking about everybody sacrificing one thing. They should lead from the front. They should lead by examples. A situation whereby in a country a senator is receiving a lot of 21 million naira in a month, whatever they are calling it, whether they are saying it is for running costs or something, 21 million, and minimum wage is 70,000 naira.
Yes.
That's 70,000 naira. That will not help us. So it has to start from the top. And for the citizens, I will advise the citizens that we must keep on engaging the government. That is number one. The number two is that yes, it is the right of citizens to protest for whatever they think is not right in the country, but we should not be destructive. This last
bad governance.
Where the violence part is what is not. We don't need that. Yes, we can protest, but we don't need to go to the extent of. Then I also want to advise Nigerians to be productive. Find something doing. Yes, there's no government in the world that can provide all that the citizen needs. So we find something productive to do. When everyone is productive, prosperity will smile on the nation.
Yeah, absolutely. We sincerely do appreciate you for sparing our time to join us on the show this morning. We are hopeful if we call again, you would heck into our call.
No problem.
Thank you so
Dayo.
much. Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
All
We
right.
sincerely appreciate it. Do have a lovely day. We appreciate you. Yeah, that was journalist Adebayo Joseph, the head of Story Leadership newspaper, as he shares some of his thoughts as regarding some of the developing stories in relations to waiver of import duties on food items by the government. These are some of the critical things that form the basis of our discourse on the show every Saturday. You know how we do it. We bring some of those important stories to you for your listening pleasure. And you, our listener, also have a thought to share in this regard. Just before we move to the second phase, the second focus of the show this day. You can also lend your voice on some of these national issues, some of the things that we have discussed. What do you make of this waiver? Do you think it's a step in the right direction towards helping to cushion this effect? You can be a part of the conversation by dropping your comments on Facebook. We're live on Facebook. Drop your comments there so that we can take those comments. And you can also call us live on 0704 700 7999. 0704 700 7999. And you can also call 0805 388 8933. 0805 388 8933. These are the studio lines that you can call. And if you feel, you don't want to call, you can definitely drop your comments on Facebook so that we can take some of those comments. For the notice, for information's sake, there have been numerous speculations by the Nigerian Customs Service that, the federal government has done the food import duty waiver. Absolutely. A welcome development, as many people would say. But there are about 188 billion naira that Nigeria is set to lose in this regard. Do you think this is a step in the right direction towards cushioning the effects of hunger and, of course, the economic hardship in Nigeria? So right about now, we'll bring in our in-house analyst. I have with me in the studio this morning Professor Wale Akinyemi as he joins us live. Prof, it's great having you join us live on in the studio this morning.
It's great to be here, Icon. Good morning.
Yeah, we celebrate you. Thanks for sparing our time to be here. We also have Tayo Ajewale as he joins us live this morning.
Good morning, Icon. Good morning, Ibadan. Good morning, Nigerians.
Oh, thank you so much. We are very first focus on the show. We had journalist Bayo, the head of Story Leadership News paper. He shared his thoughts all the way from Abuja. He joined us virtually this morning. He shared his thoughts as regarding some of these issues. Prof, what would you make of this? The waiver on food. Do you think this is a step in the right direction by the federal government? People are saying, there have been numerous policies. Okay, we do have a call. Hello. Hello, please move away from your radio set. Can you move away from your radio set, please? Yes, this is omoluwabi. Can you move a bit away from your radio set? Hello. Oh, please do well to call us back. We can't hear you. It wasn't really so clear, and we want our listeners to also hear your thoughts on the show. To be a part of the conversation, you can call 0704 700 7999 or 0805 388 8933. These are the studio lines that you can call to be a part of the conversation. We've spoken extensively as we have journalist Bayo share his thoughts as regarding the federal government's waiver on food import duty, 0% free, so that things can really get better for the average man on the streets. Prof, let's take you. What's your take?
Thank you very much. The subsidy removal policy of government is ill-thought.
Ill-thought?
Yes, and ill-implemented. I will explain to you what I mean. The idea of the new president coming in and saying with fiat that henceforth for subsidy is gone is what started all of this and resulted in catapulting prices of goods and services in Nigeria, especially food items. I expect Mr. President to have known the culture of Nigerians, that when there is any opportunity to be corrupt, if there is any opportunity to oppress, if there is any opportunity for them to inflict pain on their fellow citizens, they are very, very quick to implement it. You will see that the president has not left the venue of the ceremony before the prices started to go up in Nigeria. I would have expected that all of the policies that government are coming up with now to cushion the effect of the removal, they should have been the first thing government should carefully articulate before coming up with that policy. And that is why we are feeling so much the impact of that policy. It's a good policy, no doubt, because Nigeria cannot continue to postpone the evil day. But the way it was done and the way it was implemented was not democratic. and is ill-conceived. I think we must start from that point. The other point we must start from is that is the beauty of democracy. If Nigerians have not gone on protest on the street, some of the policies that we are seeing in our government will probably not have enacted them. So they have kind of forced the hand of government to critically look at the issue of cost, especially food cost in Nigeria, and that is what has resulted in this waiver that we are talking about. Yes, government is going to be losing a whooping 155 billion naira in terms of revenue.
188.
But money, yes, 188 billion. But money does not translate to anything. Money remains in the value that you attach to it. I think the comfort of Nigerians is much more important than any figure that you might be talking about.
Prof, let's quickly pick this call. Hello. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and where you are calling from?
My name is Ukwadi. I'm calling from Adogba.
From Adogba. Please, let's have your take on the show this morning.
Yes, I want to talk on the importation of food.
The waiver.
Yes. If you affect, I believe it will affect the local farmers to cause more unemployment in the agricultural sector. I'm not going to be happy with that, because we are going to lose those import taxes. We will generate more revenue in that area. But the government, I think they should think about this. They should really think about it. That's what I want to say.
You are not in support of this waiver. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
But you know, the average man on the street is crying of hunger. So government has thought it.
Okay, yes. Everybody should go back and farm. Subsistence farming. They can go into large-scale farming. Everybody should go back and farm. Should go back to the agriculture. Let us go and start, be productive in that agricultural sector. Let's go and farm. Start getting to agriculture and living whether in the area of crop.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it. Let's pick this call. Hello.
Hello, sir. Good morning, sir.
Hello, good morning, sir. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Adam Olawi, sir.
Mr. Adam, where are you calling from?
I'm coming from Odono, Kekere, Arapaja.
From Odono. Please, let's have your contribution this morning.
This
is an English show, but let's have your thoughts.
Can try your baby. Hello, sir.
Tẹ̀síwájú.
Okay, sir. Mo try láti wọlé lẹ́ẹ̀kan tí wọ́n ṣe program yẹn, but Ọlọ́run ò kádàrá pé kí nọ́mbà tèmi náà wọlé. So mo try láti fẹ́ sọ one or two things lórí ọ̀rọ̀ ẹgbẹ́ tí wọ́n sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan. Mo try.
Oh, unfortunately, we will not be able to take this comment on this show. That was for the last show. You can do well to join that show maybe next week. You can also still be a part of the conversation. 0704 779 99 or 0805 388 8933. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Unfortunately, we lost that call. So, Prof, let's proceed with what we were discussing. You spoke about the fact that the fuel subsidy removal was ill-conceived and, of course, ill-implemented. And, I mean, that has actually brought us here as a nation. Do you think this is an action in the right trajectory of really positioning Nigeria to bounce back strong and, of course, help the common man?
Let me tell you, all the policies of government right now, they are influenced, dictated by the IMF and the Bretton Woods institutions. And I will expect a democratic government to think more of the people they are governing upon rather than their affiliation with any international bodies. That's one very important consideration. And until government is ready to put Nigeria above any bilateral or multilateral relations they think they have, we'll continue to have some of these problems. Just imagine it. First subsidy was removed, then Naira was devalued. I mean, two contradictory policies.
But Prof, don't you think government, when they take some policies or decisions, they are privy to some information that you and I don't have?
There is no information they have that we don't have. The absolute truth of the matter is that it's been a regime of profligacy the last 8 years. The worst run economy that Nigeria has ever experienced, up to the point that even they sold our oil on credit. And it's one of the reasons why a government account is not balancing today. But because it's the same party, they cannot come out bold. I'm sure if it was to be a PDP party that handed over to Mr. President, it is a different matter. Some people will have been facing some prosecution right now. This is the truth. We should not run away from some of this truth. You saw a whole lot of profligates, a whole lot of corruption cases that were swept under the carpet. Look at the man that was set up to go and investigate the central bank. Midway, they stopped him from that assignment because of political weight, pressure on Mr. President. So these are the critical issues we must continue. We cannot be saying that we continue to subsidize corruption and then continue to put more and more pressure on Nigerians. There's a point that they will say they cannot go on again. More so when leadership is not given a good example.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling
How
from?
are you, gentlemen?
Very
this
fine.
This is Mr. Peter from Bodija in Ibadan.
From Bodija, absolutely. Let's have your take.
I want to thank the professor
Thank you, sir.
for actually telling us the truth and nothing but the truth. It was ill-timed, ill-conceived, and it makes no sense. Because even now, subsidy is still being paid. What should have been removed should have been the corruption within it. All over the world, and I've traveled a little, you will find subsidy in every country. It's even worse in US, because you can go to any place where you can eat and do any, not to talk about tax relief, tax this. And let me tell Mr. President, who at least in the 50s, I was born in the 50s too. Let him take to turn, the tax, let it become half zero. It will not have any effect on this food high price that we are experiencing. Let's take, for example, a trailer bringing tomato of 800,000 from Maduguri to Lagos. And he has to spend about 1.2 million naira on diesel.
1.2 million.
What effect can that make? The best thing I would suggest to him is go back on what you did before. Put this petrol price on 300 naira, on 350. Let's see what will happen. Then you can now start reducing gradually and increasing gradually. But for you to say you will take off within 6 months this and that, there is no difference. Take, for example, yesterday, they said they've removed this, they've removed that. I have something to buy, which was 3,000 in February. They bought it for me yesterday, 11,000. Let's assume there is no money.
That's about 8,000 increase.
Yes, 11 is an insulin. Which if I don't take in a day, it means I'm gone. And how many have died? My appeal to him, you can say I want to go this way if you find it very difficult. And please, Professor and my dear friend over there, I am saying it emphatically. In December, you will find, because it makes no difference. It will make no difference. Go back on the price. We've seen presidents who will meet, fuel price or whatever at 300 naira and say, it's still too high, and bring it back. But that you will say strong head, you will see what will happen by December. Because it's making no effect. Yesterday, when my driver came, the first thing I said was, Baba. I thought they said they removed the whatever tax or whatever on message. In fact, it increased 11,000 from 3,000. I wish him the best of luck. It's only 4 years. After 4 years, people that goes to vote will know what to do. Good day. God bless.
Thank you so much, sir, for your contribution. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
Guest in the studio, Sulaiman Sheriff calling from Nara.
From Onora. Let's have your
God bless
contribution.
the last caller, Baba.
Thank you.
What we have seen now since the removal of first subsidy is multifaceted problem.
Multifaceted problems.
Yes, that challenge is beyond counting it now. Even if you count one today, the following day it should be another one. So the major problem is that Mr. President failed to address what we are facing. Maybe he needs to appoint competent hands as economic team for his own cabinet, because despite the increase in monetary allocation given to state governors, inflation and naira devaluation still the major challenges. See what the last caller said. If you have 2,000 naira now, if you purchase something yesterday, if you go that to that market today, the price has been changed. Despite a few days ago that inflation had been reduced, see, we want Mr. President to address the inflation that we are facing. And the major problem is that removal of fuel subsidy. So we are happy if the Dangote refinery, if it can be started working on time, maybe it should reduce that burden. But it's a big shame for this country, Nigeria, as an oil-producing country, and we don't have active refinery that is working. That's a big shame for us, to be sincere. Because when I checked the list about some countries that have a refinery, the USA, with over, I forget their population, they have over 43 refinery that is working. What about we here in Nigeria? We have 0 refinery that's working. If that one is not working, what about the modular refinery? The Apata refinery that you have, that Apata modular refinery, is not working for over 25 years ago, which is very bad. So I appeal Mr. President to do a needful in that regard. That's my own submission this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We do appreciate you. Thank you so much. We appreciate the caller, Baba from Bodija. We sincerely appreciate your contribution. And of course, the last caller for, speaking your mind as regarding some of these issues. Prof, you want to react to some of this before we bring in Tayo Ajewale as he shares his thoughts too?
Let me speak the language that every Nigerian can understand. If you look at all the variables, there is the human element. It is the human element that can give us positive results, and it is the human element that can give us the negative results. The issue of middlemen in Nigeria and how they negatively affect prices. Let me put it in proper perspective. There is this pupil that they told them that they should produce passport, and they said there were 500 pupils in that school. So they called the photographer, the teacher that was responsible. They called the photographer. The photographer says yes, he's producing the passport for each child, 500 naira. And the teacher negotiated with that photographer because of the population, there are so many of them, we are going to pay you 200 naira. And the photographer agreed. Meanwhile, that teacher went to go and tell the proprietor that the photographer said they are producing that passport for 1,000 naira. So the proprietor now said to wrote a letter to the parents that this passport is 1,200. When the mother got that letter, she took it to the daddy and said, she didn't show the letter to the daddy. She said they are producing this passport 2,500. So the man ended up paying 2,500, and the man that is actually producing the passport got 200 naira. That is the situation of Nigeria.
Interesting time.
That is, as simple as that situation is, and you can imagine at such a very micro level, there's that level of corruption and insincerity. So you cannot imagine with people that are dealing with oil. You can imagine with the people that are dealing with our energy, the people that are dealing with electricity, people that are dealing with telecommunications, people that is the same thing all over. And until we remove this human element in all of these variables, we are not going anywhere.
Thank you, Prof. Tayo, we are a bit pressed for time to go on a short break, but let's have your take on that, because when we are back from this break, we are definitely going to be considering another issue. Well, what's your take? The waiver. You've listened to Baba from Bodija. You've listened to my brother who just called us now. You've listened to Prof and some of the outcry of Nigerians as regarding some of these developing stories. What do you make of this?
Well, I think a lot and enough has been said about this already. And then me just sharing my own 1 cent. It's just me echoing the voices of many Nigerians that are on the streets. We've heard about removal of waiver and the likes like that. We've heard a lot of things as regards removal or waiver rather on drugs. Baba spoke about him trying to get an insulin. And then you get to imagine if Baba couldn't afford an insulin, if Baba couldn't afford that price increase. You know, we've always heard the government coming out to say that we removed our taxes. People cannot afford to buy drugs at this point in time. But then I always ask the question: these things are they on paper or are they
Are they being
Are they being
implemented?
implemented in the right sense of it? Just like Prof said, we have a lot of middlemen coming in. And then this is, like I always say, it's a systemic problem. The whole system needs to be overhauled. And then we just need to have a recycle. We need to have a reorientation at this point in time, so that things can get well and to be here for all of us in Nigeria. Thank you.
Absolutely. So right about now, we'll go on this short break, commercial break, and of course when we're back, we're definitely going to take more calls because we can see the phone lines beeping. We'll take some more calls, and after that, we'll dissect the other part of the show's focus. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
Number portability. Yes, you can move your line from one network service provider to another without losing your number. When your network service provider is charging too much, or the quality of service from your network provider is not good, or has no service in your home or office area, the choice is yours as you can move to another operator. But before you move, ensure that you utilize all your credits. Good news is that as you move to a new operator, you will retain same number in your choice new network. Number portability is a service introduced by the Nigerian Communications Commission to offer more choices to the Nigerian telecom consumer. NCC, connecting Nigeria.
Ibadan, stand up. It's a Kuna Matata and ATM Olubadan of comedy experience. Come Sunday, August the 18th, 2024. Regular ticket 3K, VIP 10K, Gold table 300K, Diamond table 500K, Platinum table 1 million naira. Happening live at Civic Center in Diakbe, Ibadan. Hakuna Matata. It means don't worry. Tickets are available at www.needs.events. Civic Center in Diakbe, Ibadan.
I will show you. Junior, don't do that.
Sweetheart, no matter what you do, we show you love. So you can show more love to everyone.
Mom, how do you show more love to everyone? I will show you love.
Show some more love today with 4 more packs of your favorite Indomie noodles in Indomitable and Super Pack cartons. Also, each Indomitable pack is now 200 naira, while Super Pack is now 350 naira. So hurry now. Offer valid till stock lasts.
Stay informed about the latest political and national issues by tuning into the discourse on Omoluwabi Radio 87.7 FM. Join Stephen Adedigba and his guests for engaging discussions and in-depth analysis. Get the latest news, insight, and expert opinions on the topics that shape our nation. Join the conversation every Saturday at 9 a.m. and stay up to date on current events only on Omoluwabi Radio 87.7 FM. Don't miss it.
All right, you're welcome back from that short commercial break. It's still the discourse on Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. You know, I will do it on the show. We dissect some of the major salient international issues. You dare to share your thoughts in this regards. We've been seeing several calls. I mean, people just want to come in. Let's see what this person has to say.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. In about 45 seconds, please, let's have your contribution.
All right. My name is Oluwadamilola. I'm calling from Bodija.
From Bodija.
Yeah, I agree with what Prof said. The truth is, the corruption has really, really eaten into our system. The truth is, everyone at every level keeps putting their own gain. And at the end of the day, by the time it gets to the final consumers, it would have been so bad. I pray that God will intervene in our situation in this country.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your contribution. We really do appreciate it. Let's take a few comments on Facebook. We see David says, I love this radio station. Then Emmanuel Shuku says, well done, sir. Happy weekend to you and Prof. Feintola Abiola says, fuel subsidy has gone and gone for good, though it is the genesis of hike in price of everything. But one of the solutions that can be adopted by the government is to effect and fast-track the issue of selling crude oil to Dangote refinery, so he can produce PMS and sell in his own price, which I believe it could be lesser and the economy can be sustainable in due time. God bless our dear nation. Well done, the icon. Yeah, thank you so much, for sharing your thoughts in that regard. So let's move to the next focus of the show. We have very limited time, and that's the issue with Constitution. Taya, I want to start with you. You know, we've said numerous things in that regard as related to Constitution amendment. Several social groups have met with the president saying, come, you need to review the Constitution. You know, so many people in the North are saying, if you review this Constitution, it's going to cause a lot of political quagmires. Constitution amendment, a catalyst for performance and optimization. Do you think, in your own opinion, Tayo, that when the Constitution of Nigeria takes the right shape, don't forget the 2014 confab. You know, we had several things in that regard. And, you know, for the benefit of some of our listeners who probably do not understand some of the things that were discussed in the confab, it was done under the former president Goodluck Ebele Jonathan on 17th March 2014. There were about 492 delegates. 492 delegates, that were represented, and which represent a cross section of Nigerians, including the professional bodies. And it was headed by Chief Justice Idris Legbo Kutiji, and it was deputized by one very good man, Bolaji Akinyemi, who was the vice chairman of that confab. Some of the major concerns was devolution of power committee, political restructuring and forms of government, national security, environment, politics and governance, law, judiciary, human rights and legal reform, social welfare, transportation, agriculture, society, labor and sports. I mean, a lot of some of those issues. Tayo, do you think, has anything been done on this confab? No, since 2014.
Yeah, nothing has been done on the confab, but then at some point during the early days of this administration, yes. I think the president came on board and said he's going to be adopting the confab and some parts of the confab, and then going forward, Nigeria. And that was what resulted to some agencies being moved from Abuja to Lagos.
To Lagos, absolutely.
So all of those things put together.
But do you think just doing all of that would suffice enough towards, ameliorating some of those challenges in governance?
Challenges in governance, I don't think Nigeria does not really. Is it all about constitution? Definitely, there are some lacunas in our constitution, and then, like we always say, no constitution is perfect all over the world. And then there are some things we need to check in our constitution. But then, checking all of the issues surrounding the Nigerian society, economics, corruption, everything that you can talk about, I don't think it's a constitutional problem. Is it a constitutional problem that we have a lot of middlemen trying to sabotage the efforts of the government? Is it a constitutional problem that the government decided to sell rice at 40,000 naira to subsidize the price of rice? And some
Tayo, on the issue of immunity, the Constitution has immunized a lot of people, from being prosecuted. Don't you think if Constitution review or Constitution amendment is done, it would really bring about lasting solution in this regard?
Let me ask the same question. Did the Constitution, do past governors that have served in time past, do they still have immunity? Why is the EFCC finding it very difficult to prosecute them and to take them to court and then bring proper prosecutions against them?
To that.
So it's just a societal problem. It's a systemic problem, like I would say. So it's not really based. The Constitution might have its own problem, and that's just a common thing all over the world. We have lacunas in our constitutions. But then I think we need to check ourselves as a people. It's a systemic problem, like I would say.
Absolutely. Prof, let's have your take in less than 60 seconds about this Constitution. We are very, very pressed for time.
Well, the constitution we are operating is given to us by the military. And we say we are operating the civilian administration.
The 1999 constitution.
So definitely there will be a disconnect. The absolute truth of the matter is that you are not running a federal government, you are running a unitary system
of government.
And that is a major problem in Nigeria. So definitely there is a compelling need for Nigeria to have the review of that constitution. That is very, very important. I want to say more about this thing. Let me tell you, the 1914 amalgamation of Nigeria.
Frederick Lugard.
Yes, that thing has become obsolete. So Nigeria can legally now say they want to go their separate ways. And if anybody is saying that it is the unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable and all of that, that person is not being honest.
Okay. Hello. Let's take this call. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. My take on the constitution amendment.
Please, your name and where you are calling from.
It's the same person that called earlier, Okwade.
Okay, Okwade. Okay,
yes,
thank you.
It matter how we change the constitution or try to amend it or restructure anything. The problem is still that we ourselves are Nigerians. We are greedy. We are selfish and corrupt like our leaders. From the grassroots to the top, to the federal, to the local government. If you like, use the FCC to be chasing politicians. The immunity clause in the constitution, you will still overstretch the FCC in trying to arrest local government chairmen of embezzling billions from the federal level. So the problem is because of Nigeria is interwoven. As you are trying to settle one, another opening will come out from anywhere. So governors will not allow you to amend the constitution or federal allocation for the local government. Politicians that are selfish will not allow Senate to restructure Nigeria. Regions that think the restructuring will not favor them in their regions will not allow states to use their own resources to develop their states. There are some regions in the north, they will not abide by it. So that is my stake. The problem of Nigeria is ourselves, reorientating ourselves, like you said, setting ourselves in our minds. We are very sincere. We are very corrupt.
I mean, that was your take. Thank you so much. Tayo, what do you make of this? What would be your final shot on the show this morning? You know, for our callers, many people are calling. We can't speak any call. We're definitely pressed for time now. Tayo.
Absolutely. My own sermon has always been, Nigeria is this project called Nigeria is not just the project of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Isn't it just the project of Seyi Makinde? Neither is it the project of some certain Akpabio or Tajuddin Abbas or someone. But then it's all about all of us. It's about you and I. It's about all of us trying to do our best to foster development in the country. So I urge any Nigerians to please contribute your own quota to making sure Nigeria moves from this state to a better one.
Absolutely. Prof, what will be your pattern shot on the show today?
The way you lay your bed is the way you are going to lie on it. Obviously, Nigerians have been using very dirty linen to lay their bed, and that we are all suffering the consequence.
Thank you so much. I really don't know if this person wants to share his own final thoughts. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, good morning. In about 30 seconds, let's have your take.
This is Dr. from Makobo. You see, my take on inflation is that it can never stop because we don't